Question is, is there really a bright spot in today's real estate market? And the answer is yes. And we're going to go over the why and kind of, what we're trending versus what we're hearing about and some of the other folks on a nationwide level. All right. So first, hey, remember this is free. Remember to subscribe. You know the drill. Okay, hit the little bell so that you are updated as we're doing these weekly market updates. Because there's no selling and because it's completely free, it just allows you to make a really great business decision when the time is right. But that's only if you're interested in saving money, I guess. If you're not, well, then don't worry about it. All right. So first things first, when we talk about the Feds actually had made the comment that they are going to continue raising rates to stifle inflation, even if it goes into 2023 and even if it causes a recession. Okay, well, for those of you who are already kind of feeling a lot of that in inflation, we're definitely feeling, without a doubt, since we're at I think we haven't had this much since 1980s-ish, somewhere in there, which is, well, pretty crazy, all things considered, where we just came from. All right, so we do predict that the Feds are going to increase their rate again by about what we call 75 basis points. That is 0.75%. 1 basis point, 0.1%, or, gives you an idea. 100 basis points is 1 full percent, right? So 50 basis points, 0.5%, 75 basis points, 0.75%. Now, remember, that affects the home equity line of credit. And what's really funny is when we talk about, people's using a home equity line of credit, as a temporary, hey, to use this to buy your next home if you have good liquidity and you have good income, as an alternative to a bridge loan. It is funny because they'll say, well, no, wait a second, you said be really careful about those HELOCs, home equity line of credit. I say, yes, but when you're looking at it strategically short term, it is a big benefit in many ways because it saves you money and allows you to do that purchase. Then, depending on when you're going to, quote unquote, pay it off, you just pay it off, right? Because remember, equity has a zero value. And some people say, that's not true. I'll say, yes, it is true. No, it's not. I'll say, okay, reach into your purse or your wallet and grab me some equity. Just go ahead right now. I'll give you 2 seconds because you can't, right? Equity has a zero value unless you, one, leverage it, or B, you sell the asset to get the equity out. That's when it has value. Equity sitting in your house has no value. It doesn't do anything. It's not like your 401k. Well, that's a really bad example. But anyway, let's use your 401k that unless you're making 10%, you're losing money today. But anyway, if you look at a 401k, you put that money away, it earns something. And you might say, well, George, I'm earning appreciation. You said we had 10% appreciation this year. We're going to see 4 to 6% appreciation next year. Yes, that is true. But you can't touch it, right? You say, well, you can't touch a 401k. Well, in essence, you can. But what you can do is leverage that equity to do certain things, whether it's to buy an investment property. Okay, that allows you to compound your investment. If you have the need to purchase the next home and maybe you're just shy of down payment dollars, it's a great way to be able to get your down payment dollars, whether you sell the home, your existing home later, or you rent it out, you cash out some stock or something that you're going to go ahead and pay off the home equity line of credit. Maybe your tenant's going to pay it because your balance is so low as a mortgage on the other house before you move up to your other house. It's a lot of different options. But we got sidetracked there. Let's get back on track. All right. So when we talk about what we think the Feds are going to do, the super important thing to remember and to know, because you might be hearing this word, I swear it just, people have the flavor of the month called. But anyway, we've discussed it in the past. When we look at a recession, when we talk about the Feds, because a lot of people are asking, George, when's a recession happening? and I kind of brought my crystal ball polish with me. The key that you want to look at is when the Feds do what we call a pivot, okay? A pivot like in dancing, don't get me dancing. A pivot could be a lot of different things, but it's when the Feds stop increasing rate and actually pivot and actually start bringing it back down. It is that pivot that normally triggers or historically has triggered or people acknowledge a recession, okay? So what you will be looking for is the comment that, hey, the Feds might actually reduce their lending rate. And remember, the Feds, that's car payments, credit cards, HELOCs, what banks lend to each other, things like that. And understand, we went from basically zero, right, this year, up to, they're going to get it to like 4.5%. Okay, that's massive. Like last year, people were saying, George, what the heck? Well, what? And I said, yeah, you know, the average right now is 7.2% nationally. Okay, when you take a look at what the Feds control and sometimes have an effect, right? But when we take a look at rate, when the Feds go from basically 0 to 4.5%, and then we go from 3.2% on mortgage rates up to 7.2, that's a 4-point swing, okay? And understand, that really scaled back the buying power of a lot of buyers. It pulled back what people are willing to do on certain homes where, you know, when we talk about low interest rate buying, that's what we had 2020, 2021, and the first part of 2022, right? Basically, it's 2 solid years of a sprint. Now we're back to a walk, but now this walk, we've got a headwind on this walk. It's not as easy to walk forward. Why? Because we've got some inflationary issues that I think were propagated by the admin, but nonetheless, we have some inflation issues. We have interest rate issues that are kind of pushing us back. Sellers are feeling that, and that's, you know, part of what's going on. And you might say, George, how could there possibly be a bright spot in all of this? Well, it's really simple. First of all, we brought a little bit of normalcy back to our market, which really, even if we start adjusting, you know, we're not seeing, you know, the 1% per month appreciation, okay? If we're staying more flat, right now, and we're at that, you know, very marginal flat, just a very small incline of appreciation. We're not going backwards yet. Some people might say, George, we're seeing a lot of price reductions. We have 1,212 just on our running 7-day average. Yes, that is true. However, is people are still adjusting to our new market, okay? And yes, both in the banking industry and in the real estate industry and even in the commerce areas where a lot of costs, a lot of things are changing. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now, but all things considered, sellers have more pace. Buyers have more pace. There's more, what I would say on a buyer side, even though it's still a seller's market because our inventory is still limited, on the buyer side, you get to keep your contingencies. You get to have the protection of not having to waive your appraisal, your inspection, you know, and all of the other things that really kind of make things a wee bit scary. Plus, we're not seeing these crazy multiple offers and crazy prices that sometimes we cannot justify sometimes, but it is what one party is willing to pay. And they have the cash to pay that difference. Okay, that's a big difference in 2008, which some people are still saying, well, I think it's like 2008. And it's not. It can't be because we are so equity heavy now, all right? That's why even in our areas, you know, we only had, I think, like 42 foreclosures or what we call an REO or a bank-owned property throughout Washington State. Well, at least in the Northwest MLS, which is half of Washington State. Unlike some other areas that are taking a hit, which always take the hit, which always make the news. So you have California, you have Texas, you know, Houston, and the other places there. You know, you have Florida. Okay, they always do, right? Arizona, they always do. Nevada, they always do. They always do. They always hear about them. They go crazy up and they go crazy down. Okay, but that's not us. And understand that. So our bright spot is that we do have a lot of consistency. Sure, we have the typical employer ups and downs with hiring and firing. Sure, that's normal. Our market on average right now is doing actually very well, okay? When we take a look at the number of homes, we're a little bit above where we were at in 2019. And really, we have to use 2019 because 2020 and 2021, well, we drew down so much inventory that there was just, it's super hard. Even though the month over month, I look at, what happened, and this is a year over year. Really, at the end of the day, our numbers are actually, I think they're only up like 8% over 2019. It's not very much, okay? New on market, pretty consistent. We're down on inventory. This and this one here, this one is this one's giving us a little bit of pause, only because with fewer homes coming on and fewer homes going pending, and of course, naturally that translates into our solds, we're starting to see that number, that disparity, even over here, grow just a little bit more. That gives us a little bit more pause. Now, yes, when you take and you double interest rates year over year, yes, that has a significant impact. But funny enough, when you look here, even though we had 1,087 coming on market, still had 1,180 homes that sold, okay? You might be asking, George, are you even seeing multiple offers? Yes, as a matter of fact, on a condo that one of our team members marketed, he had multiple offers on that condo, which is awesome, okay? Well-priced homes are still seeing multiple offers. Buyers are still there. And that is the bright spot for everyone, okay? Now, granted, statistically speaking, October is one of the worst months to sell, along with November, December. Your March, April, May are typically your best months to sell. However, we are still seeing that consistent activity. We will, continue to see that activity, all right? Now, yes, interest rates are projected to continue in an upward trend. And yes, there are many of us, now that I've got some statistical support behind me, including Fannie Mae, who has a much bigger head shed than myself, even they're saying that we will be seeing a reduction in rate come the first part of the year. And I do expect that to be happening, right? And sorry about that, I meant to turn that off. That is one of the lenders, though. They're probably calling me to give you a market rate. And we'll get that later. All right. So when we take a look at our numbers over here, month over month, we are pulling down a little bit further than we anticipated. Part of that is the fact that, the most recent rates came out for inflationary rates. They did not bode well. Had an impact on the 10-year Treasury, which then, of course, bam, took a massive spike on interest rates. Then they came back down. They settled back down a little bit, but they still went up. We've got some of the highest rates since 1981-ish, somewhere in that range. Maybe it was the late 80s. But anyway, nonetheless, we are still struggling with rate. When that changes, when that starts coming down, that is when we will start to see the benefit of everybody who actually has continued to purchase and to market, because you're going to be able to refinance, you're going to be able to get a much better rate. And those people are going to benefit, because when the rates do come down, buyers are going to come out of the woodwork, craziness is going to happen again, and that will be our spring market. Again, really, March, April, May is going to be an interesting market. I guess we'll see. That is my crystal ball polish, and we'll go from there. In the meantime, if you guys have any questions, hey, reach out, ask. There's no strings attached. We'll get back to you in about 30 minutes. And this way you get the best information. Take it to your agent, whatever you're doing. The key thing is, when we talk about rate, even today at 6.875, non-owner occupied at 7.2, if you're a doctor, and this is if you're buying a home for yourself, not a rental property, you're a doctor, you're a teacher, you're a police officer, you're a firefighter, you're in the military. Remember, in Coast Guard, don't forget those guys. You get special programs. There are special financing programs for you guys to help you, all right? And to thank you for your service. In the meantime, if you guys have any questions, please ask, subscribe, hit the bell so that you know when these are coming. We finally got a rain. The air is clear. Leaves are definitely changing and falling. Please be safe out there. Make sure your gutters are clean. We had a couple of people that said, hey, we wish we'd listened to you. They took pictures and sent them to us of water boiling over their gutters. Anyway, be safe out there. Make sure that you do the October recommended repairs and maintenance on your home. In the meantime, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.